Greetings, good evening, beautiful kings and queens. I am so happy to welcome you here tonight for this very special live stream, this very special interview with my beautiful friend, sister, Queen Jamie Love. This is going to be powerful tonight. Jamie is the founder of the Ageless Beauty Method, and we're going to talk about some tricks and tips that she has uncovered over her journey. She is a powerful author as well. She is self-published. She has self-published 40 books. She also is a great musician. She makes music. She sings. She does videos as well, interviews, and she is the founder as well of the Raw Food Worldwide Meetup, gathering, raw foodists, vegans from all over the world to meet, which is so exciting and such a beautiful mission. She is a mom, a wife, and she has been through so many different personal transformations through raw and plant-based foods. She's had an incredible weight loss journey. If you've seen her pictures, you'll see her transformation. She's literally like glowed up so much. And, she's just loved herself through every stage of the journey of overcoming food addictions and tapping deep into her soul, and learning to love herself through it all. And I just love her so much. She's a beautiful spirit, a beautiful soul. She's very gentle, kind, loving, compassionate. And if you know her, you cannot help but fall in love with her. So tonight we're going to share a couple of tips and tricks that she has uncovered, we could feel it. We could feel it when somebody has really gone through those transformations. And we're going to talk about how you too could get that glow, right? When we see somebody just like Jamie, who's been through this transformation, you're like, wow, you really feel it. And it's not just about the physical, although the physical is incredible, but it's an energy, it's a frequency, it's a heightened state of being. And so I'm so excited to have you on. This is our first interview, and thank you so much to everybody who joined. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. I will be checking the chat as well.
Thank you so much. That was such an amazing introduction. I feel so honored to be here with you, and I absolutely love you. I love how inspiring you are and just how honest and real and authentic you are. That's what's like the most inspiring. I love how you embrace self-love, you embrace your beauty, you embrace your features. You're so honest about the journey too, which is amazing.
Thank you so much. Yeah, when we share, and you too, like when you started talking about your even recent struggles, I thought it was very brave and bold, especially when we start to become, quote unquote, a public figure or an influencer, or whatever you want to call it. It's like there's a lot of pressure on us to be perfect, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then when we make a mistake, we feel like a failure.
Yeah, we feel like the whole world is watching, the whole world knows, and there's a shame that can come up. And what you've helped me to do is to really heal that shame. And actually, it's completely disappeared, through me alchemizing it and just looking at it and saying, what is it that self-imposed, this whole feeling of just needing to be perfect. And it's something that, for me has been with me for my whole life, having been through eating disorders, as you understand as well, and addictions and all of that. It's actually a desire to be perfect, and a deep feeling of inadequacy that I've had to, overcome through positive relationships have helped me so much with females, with women who are also honest, such as yourself. So I just want to thank you as well for opening up that door and talking very honestly. And this interview really came from our friendship and us having a very deep conversation. And I said, wow, this was really, really cathartic for me to be able to just bare myself to you without feeling judged or without feeling anything. And it really lifted something from me. So truly we are here to support and help each other. And that is what you do, simply by being yourself, simply by you're shining your light and being honest and open. And I just wish more people could be like that in this world. A lot of people, wear masks.
Yeah, we do it because the world judges us about everything. Like we're constantly critiqued, especially when it comes to our creation, just being able to put yourself out there. Like people will have something negative to say about anything. So that perfectionism comes from humanity just, criticizing one another. It's not easy to be yourself. And that's why the more authentic people that you can surround yourself with, and the more people that accept you and love you. And that's what's really great about, the vegan and raw vegan community that I have found, is that there's just been so many loving, open-hearted people that have really embraced me for who I am. And that has helped me heal too. Like, just being around that community. When I started my meetup group, I have never felt so much love in a community like I did before.
Yes, definitely. I love the safe containers that you create through your energy. I love even your group chat that you have, and the Facebook group that you've created for Ageless Beauty. It just brings together the most authentic women that want to be real. We're tired of the pressure. We're tired of having to be so much. You know what I mean? There's so much pressure for women, especially as moms, especially as just everything. We wear so many hats on a whole. So to have a space where we could just be and share our life authentically is truly powerful.
The beauty standards too that we have to feel like we have to live up to.
Tell us a little bit about your journey. Like, what inspired you to make those changes? When you were struggling, whether it be with your weight or, your mental health or depression, things like that. Like, what was the catalyst? And I genuinely want to know. I never really asked you, like, when was it, and what was that spark that really made you awaken and want to change?
It's been a really long journey. And it has not really been like this. It's, kind of gone like this, where I've wanted to change my life, and then I kind of like fell off of everything, and then get really fed up with, myself, and I'm not really doing the things I want to be doing, and looking the way I want to look, and feeling the way I want to feel, and doing the things in life that I want to be doing. And then, that kind of drives me to, do again. And I think it takes time to implement habits. It started with changing my diet. And then it started with learning to love myself, and kind of overcoming insecurities, and, just the beauty standards of the world, and wanting to feel beautiful in my own skin. And then, going like chemical free was a really big deal for me as well. And, just things that not really, I started to get more spiritual, and then I just kind of started shedding things that no longer felt like it belonged in my space, and my mind, and my energy, and my life. And I just, over time, just kept making improvements, kept implementing lifestyle habits, kept improving my diet. Every time I would fall off of whatever it is, or just kind of went to take 2 steps back, I would come back stronger, and with more insight, more clarity, and, a clearer direction of the person that I want to become, and the path that I'm taking.
I love that. It compounds too. It adds on one on top of the other, on top of the other, right? It's one change opens up the door to another change. It's like we say, go work out, and then you're going to see that your eating habits are naturally going to shift, or maybe you're going to just naturally gravitate towards healthier foods, right? To have that energy and not be so bogged down for the workout. So, sometimes one habit will open up the door to others, and it's truly an awakening. And how did you I was gonna talk about the Ageless Method,
Okay.
like how that was birthed. Yeah.
So my mom is very vain, and she was really big into makeup and very into plastic surgery. I know I didn't want to go down that route. I wanted to, and I was really big into beauty as well. So her vanity kind of got put onto me, and I wore a lot of makeup, but I saw that there was these girls that looked very healthy, and they looked beautiful. And I feel like I was unhealthy, and using hair and makeup and clothes to try to mask the unhealthiness that I was, to try to look beautiful, but I didn't really feel like I was glowing from within. So when I went vegan, and I went raw, and I had my weight loss transformation, I realized that we're all inherently beautiful. Like, God made us beautiful, So everybody's beautiful. We're beautiful because we decide to be beautiful, because we are beautiful. So beauty is subjective. So it's not like, I was beautiful or I'm not beautiful, but there's a feeling where you feel beautiful. It's almost like an experience, like I can tell when I feel like I'm glowing, and I'm vibrant, and I'm beautiful. It's like, it's a feeling, regardless of what I look like. It's a feeling that we're giving off, an energy. So when I lost the weight and my skin cleared up, I felt beautiful in my skin, and I felt comfortable. And that was like a goal of mine, was to feel beautiful naturally without having to cover up, like, put tons and tons of foundation on and whatever, right? So I did that, but I still had insecurities. And, it got me thinking about, like, what makes a person beautiful? Regardless of what they look like, it's their energy. It's their youthful spirit. It's playfulness. It's being, spontaneous. It's being fluid and being able to flow with the changes of life. It's the qualities that they embody, like love, forgiveness, kindness. When someone is kind and funny and they light up the room, it doesn't matter what they look like on the outside. This is beauty that doesn't age, right? Because we're always thinking beauty is going to fade, but what is the ageless beauty? And it's these qualities that we embody. So then I had to really, really, I was doing the ageless beauty, and I was thinking, like, how do we enhance our natural features, and how do we embody beauty from within? So it's the diet, it's detoxing, cleaning the sludge out of your body, cleaning your mindset, detoxing all the negative shit out of your mind. Sorry, I said shit. And
That's
then,
okay.
your energy, like meditation and, working through, calming your nervous system, like having a calm energy is beautiful. When someone's chaotic and they're stressed out, that doesn't feel inviting. It doesn't feel attractive, So there's like 7 pillars that I go through. And then also there's your life purpose. When somebody is like youthful and they're playful and they have an optimistic mindset and they have a purpose that they're working towards, and they're serving and they're giving back and they're not self-service, serving to themselves, it's beautiful, and when you follow this lifestyle and you do all of these things, you're going to glow from the inside out, but you're also going to enhance your natural beautiful features that you were born with, that God gave you. So, and then I had to learn how to love myself. I gained 40 pounds last year, and I felt so insecure being overweight. And I had to learn to love myself and be confident to show up and be seen in public, 40 pounds overweight this past year. So, and the weight I'm losing the weight now. I'm looking a lot better, and feeling a lot better, because it's not just about, vanity. It's about, when you're overweight, you're not healthy, because you're more at risk for like obesity, not obesity. Well, yeah, more risk, diabetes and cancer and other things like that, So, yeah, that's pretty much what gave birth to the Ageless Beauty Method. I mean, it is about, taking care of yourself and doing what we have control over, but then also loving yourself the way you are, and also glowing from the inside out, just like radiating that beauty and that youthfulness and that glow and vitality outward, and affecting, just affecting everyone around you, just being a light. Mm-hmm. That's ageless beauty, in my opinion.
Beautiful.
It's not about fighting aging. It's not about like being afraid to age. It's not about, like being like, trying to prevent every wrinkle or gray hair, because like we're going to age at some point, unless they come out with a drug, which I know they're working on, trying to reverse aging. But until then, like, it's going to happen. So, we could try to just keep that, that youthful spirit through every stage of our life, and embrace every year that goes by, like, not as like time passing that we're disintegrating and getting older, wherever that societal mindset came from, but look at it as like, it's another year of progress. It's another year of, of life lived. We just have to like change our thinking around aging, because society has indoctrinated us to think that with every birthday we're deteriorating, we're getting older, to expect to feel old. And that's not the case. That's not the case. There's biological age and there's chronic age. So, there's people that are in their 80s and 90s who have tons of energy and running marathons, you know what I mean? So age really doesn't determine the quality of your life and your vitality.
100%. So well said. So well said. It is a spirit. It is a mindset. I mean, I feel better now at, 43 than I did when I was 23, when I was chronically depressed, uh, doing drugs, drinking, in toxic relationships, not
Same.
happy, not my purpose. I may have looked all right on the outside, but on the inside, I was not happy, constipated from IBS to just, different, so many different health issues, anxiety, the mental health is really what brought me to my knees. You know what I mean? Like, for sure, the physical as well. But once we get to the root of even why we're addicted, right? Why are we eating? Why are we overeating? Why are we, smoking the thing and drinking the thing and doing all this, like, this dissatisfaction within ourselves? So what you said really hit the nail on the head, is like finding your joy. And that could mean something different for each person. And we get so disconnected from that, right? It's like, we got to come back to our childlike self, our childlike innocence, our bliss, our passions. And that's a self exploration process that only we can go through, because, nobody has the same passion. Maybe somebody's passionate about working on cars. That's not for me, but I do like painting. And, when I come back to painting, I feel so happy and I feel so joyful. Or writing. It could be, creating content, like, makes me happy, and that's okay. That's my thing. And so finding things that really excite you in life will help you to overcome those addictions. We have to create this new reality for ourselves and find things that get us pumped up, like your good music that you love, calling a friend, like whatever it is, to find that joy in this life. And I know this world is so crazy right now, but what can we do? We raise the frequency of our entire planet by raising our own frequency. You were talking about raising your frequency. And that's truly how we heal the world, by taking
Mhm.
responsibility for ourselves and embracing our true unique gifts, and not trying to be like anybody else, not comparing yourself to this one and that one, and what is this one doing? What is that one eating? And how come this one looks more successful than me? And it's hard, right? Like, we all tend to do it, but that's the inner work, is like coming back to loving ourselves and hugging ourselves and doing practices that will help us grow that self-love. See, same with me. And
Mm.
thank you so much for sharing vulnerably, because I feel like we had a similar journey, like mine too has gone up and down. I've had weight loss, I've had weight gain over the years, many years, my whole life. It's always been a yo-yo for me. And recently too, I think like around the same time as you, I gained some weight too. And I felt, oh my gosh. And not only that, but I met somebody in my building who follows me on Facebook and Instagram. And I was just like, I hope I don't run into them again. Like, I hope they don't, like, I don't know. I just felt like not my best. And
Yeah.
almost like
Yeah.
even how do I say, a misrepresentation of this lifestyle, which can be good and bad, right? It's not a bad thing to want to represent this lifestyle well and correctly, right? Because I don't know, like, if I'm not at my, how to say, optimal self, it's kind of hard to even be coaching people, So as a coach, I think it's
As a
important, and I
coach,
even
yes. Yeah.
it's
And that's
important
kind
to
of why I've moved away from the coaching, because it's like, at what point are you doing, and no offense, because I know you're a coach, but for myself, because I was a coach, it's like, at what point am I doing this to actually help and inspire people, or now I'm just not even being authentic just in order to get clients? It's like, it's such a hard fine line, and then there is a lot of people who are not authentic, which is hard. It's hard to like show up like that, like that feeling of not fully expressing yourself. I feel like it eats away at us a little bit. Even when I was doing like Ageless Beauty, because I've been doing less Ageless Beauty, um, I was more focused on it for the anti-aging at the time. But how long could I hold that up for? You know what I mean? Because eventually I'm going to start to age. And, so it's like, I really wanted to like flip the script around what Ageless Beauty is. And I didn't want people to focus so much on the aesthetic and just focus on like, the youthful energy, So
Yeah. And I've met so many people well in their 80s, 70s that have that energy. And I'm just like, I want to be like you when I grow up, because they're not
yeah.
they're not trying to change themselves. They've really embraced it, and you could tell they've been through lots of acceptance around themselves and around their. It's about aging gracefully, is what I'm understanding from you. It's about aging gracefully, and I feel you with the plastic surgery. I wear a little bit of makeup, here and there to come on camera, but even that, sometimes I don't. I don't feel like it. Sometimes I do feel like it, and I'm like, okay, let me put some, eyeliner and mascara. But being in your presence is almost like, oh my gosh, I didn't even have to do that. You know what I mean? Because that's not, but
And I
it's
don't think
okay to
there's anything wrong
enhance.
with makeup. I actually loved wearing makeup, and I'm not against makeup, but when I was wearing it, it was like I felt like I needed the makeup in order to feel beautiful. And I wanted to feel beautiful without the makeup. That was
Yes,
like the big difference.
that's it. And the
Yeah.
key to doing that is, to me anyway, and to what I've been seeing, is really doing our best to remove the inflammatory foods from our diet. Like when I eat
Mm.
something inflammatory, the next day I, just being
Your
real, like
face
I'm
doesn't
more
look the same,
puffy.
right? Like you're like puffy. Yes.
I got
Yes,
those under
girl.
eye circles. I'm just
And
like
I
kind of
know you,
groggy.
yeah, totally.
So coming back to like what makes me feel my best, and look at the mirror. In the mirror, like I feel my optimal when I'm just on all juices or all fruit. And I know this is not maybe, for everybody or even sustainable maybe all the time at certain stages of our life, right? I do believe fruitarianism is like my ideal and my, goal that I'm reaching to when I'm going to be living in the tropics. It's going to be a little bit easier. However, I do eat a high level of fruit, and I understand there's a transition to get there. But like that feeling, I'm coming to like that feeling where I look in the mirror after like 3 or 4 days on all fruit, where I'm like, damn girl, like, whoa, because
And
it's
that, and
that
that's what it
clarity.
is. Like that's how you use the diet to enhance your natural features, and you detox to enhance your natural features. Those are
That's
those
right.
are the hacks. It's like the natural hacks. There's really nothing to it other than you need the discipline and the consistency to stick with it. But it's not easy. Like you said, there is a transition period. Personally, I didn't even realize I had a food addiction until I started to change my diet. And then, the yo-yoing back and forth, like you're doing good, you're doing good, you're doing good. Then you go to a party and you're like, okay, there we go. Just went right out the window, my whole diet, everything I do. And then you get back on it, you're like, you're good, you're doing, you're good, doing good. And then you go to a restaurant and then it feels like you're in this vicious cycle of I'm eating healthy, I fall off, I eat something I don't want to eat, and then I cleanse, and then I go back to eating healthy, and then it just keeps going back in this circle. That's to me the food addiction that I've been dealing with for years, like this
Mm.
cycle. And when I eat healthy, like I could go 2 years with eating raw, and then I end up falling back off, or some kind of life circumstance happens and I end up going back to cook food, and then I'm back to having to cleanse my body again all over again. It's a
Yeah.
lot of work.
It is. And I don't even look at it as failing, right? I just want
That's
everybody to know,
good.
like
Yeah.
even relapses are part of recovery, even in drugs and alcohol, right?
And
Like
part of the journey of self-discovery too.
every time we go back to those habits, right? We learn something about ourselves. We learn a little bit more about. JJ says I'm addicted to salads now. Me too. I just made a video about my amazing salad. I just made a really nice Asian dressing. But we
Ooh,
always learn something more about ourselves if we're ready to have that self inquiry with ourselves. Have a
right.
journal practice. Be like, what is it that made me eat those chips? Like, did I really need them? Was I really hungry? Could I have done something different? Was I thirsty? Could I have had a bowl of grapes? Like being able to self-reflect, to me, has been really transformative. And it doesn't mean we're perfect, right? It doesn't mean we never go back to those habits. Like I struggled with smoking cannabis for such a long time. This was like, my crutch, right? Other than the harder drugs that I let go of, cannabis has been in and out of my life, right? In different ways. And sometimes I go back to it for a few days, a few weeks, and it's like, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? Like, what am I doing here? Like, this is not serving me anymore. I may think it is, just like I may think, oh, those chips are going to satisfy me. That's really what I want. I want that crisp. But the more we dive deeper into ourselves, the easier it is to let those crutches go, and we find other ways, but we have to replace them with healthier habits, right? I see you rebounding. I see you doing the like vibration plate, right? Now we're like working with the frequencies. We have to find other healthier ways. Nature, you go for walks. I don't know how you walk like miles every day. You're such a an active person. And that's truly what's necessary for us to stop doing the other things. Because if we just stop doing the other things and we sit at home, we're not going to be happy, right? Because the void is there. There's a big void, right? We're doing those things because we're feeling a void inside. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't be the only one feeling this, like emptiness inside, right? And so
Right.
I've had to learn to nourish myself in healthier, more positive ways. And that's what I feel is like ageless beauty is nourishing ourselves with healthier habits that help us to, and I find women who love themselves actually look more beautiful with time than before. I was watching, I don't know if y'all like Sex and the City, but I was watching Carrie Bradshaw, in her new series. There's like a new one. It's called And Just Like That. And I was like, man, Carrie looks amazing. And she's like 55, 60. I said, she looks better now than when she was 25. That's just my personal opinion. But there's
Yes.
something about her that's just coming to her own maturity. So women can actually look much nicer. And I don't think she's done plastic
Even with
surgery.
wrinkles on your face, even with wrinkles on your face, you can look so beautiful. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. So
interesting. I'll just touch a little bit on the food addiction thing, or the
yeah,
eating for the joy, right? And having to find those other things in your life. So I did this experiment because I said I gained the 40 pounds, and I just couldn't stop eating, vegan junk food. So I was like, you know what? I'm eating for pleasure right now. I'm eating for emotion. I'm eating for boredom. I'm eating for numbing, whatever it is. So I'm not going to eat for pleasure. So I went like 4 months without having any, because what is the pleasure coming from? Actually, it's coming from the oil. It's coming from the sugar. It's coming from the salt. And it's coming from the textures, even temperatures, like we're like addicted to the taste, the textures, all that stuff. So I was just doing like very simple whole food plant-based diet, very minimal, steamed veggies for dinner, minimal ingredients, and I would eat this steamed veggies for dinner with nothing on it. And I was getting really depressed, and I'm like, okay, so this is the root of the addiction of where is this coming from? Because I know I'm not actually even hungry. Like, why do we even want to eat most of the time? It's not coming from like true hunger. So it was an interesting experience because when you take the pleasure out of eating food, what do you actually want to eat? And how often and how much? And it's just a really, I put the seasonings and stuff back into my diet, like I'm having seasonings again because I was getting depressed. But think about that. If I removed the pleasure from eating food and I was getting depressed, most of my joy was coming from eating. So the dopamine hits that I'm getting from the food, not actually just nourishing my body, but just using it like a drug. Because like I did drugs and stuff when I was younger, and I quit doing drugs. I quit drinking alcohol. I quit smoking cigarettes. And then what was left? Food. There was like so many addictions that I gave up. And then like you have like this thing that's around us all the time.
yeah.
It's everywhere. It's part of our culture. It's part of society. It's part of, even I got this email from this old like spiritual church that I went to when I lived somewhere else. And I clicked on it and they said, oh, we're having a potluck. Everything revolves around a potluck or dinner or a party with food. Everything revolves around food, if you think about it, So our world sets us up to be addicted. And that's why like transitioning and stuff, it makes it hard because, they make it look so good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it
Like,
does.
it's tough, you know, and that's why, like, when people transition to like a vegan diet, they are looking for things that resemble the non-vegan foods because they're addicted to it and they don't want to be without it. It's emotional addiction.
Yeah.
And then when you go to raw, you miss the cooked version of it so much that we do everything we can to try to come up with the raw vegan version of it because we haven't gotten over the addiction to, you know, the comfort of the food, you know, the comfort, the pleasure. So, but like you said, fruitarian, like if we only ate fruits and vegetables, well, I think fruitarians just eat greens, but like just fruits and greens, right? How much would you even want to eat? Like you would get full so fast, you know, especially if you're mindfully eating, and you would just get what your body needs, and then you'd be on for the rest of your day. You'd go do something else, you know,
Mm.
instead of it like consuming your entire life.
There's so much to unpack here. I'm gonna take a moment to think of where I want to unpack. They eat the best way to know when we're truly full is to actually eat one fruit at a time. That is the way that our body recognizes the satiation clues. And I learned them from Sabrina Kutz. I hope I'm saying her last name right. Sabina. She's an amazing teacher too, and she's a high level raw vegan fruitarian. And she says that the body sometimes gets confused when we're mixing a whole bunch of things, right? Even in salads, when we're putting like the tomatoes and the cucumbers and the seed dressing and the sweet pepper, like the body has a struggle to and I'm not saying like I don't do it,
It's
right? I
like
do mix a
alchemy.
lot of
You're like,
ingredients.
yeah,
It's just like a
yeah,
whole mix, you know. But
right.
the when I did like a watermelon, all watermelon for a while, the longest I went I think was 20 days on all watermelon. I'm telling you, after a few days on watermelon, your body just gets used to it. You're like, this is what I'm eating now. And once you have enough, you stop eating. And then when you're hungry again, you eat the watermelon or on a juice cleanse, right? After a few days of letting go of those addictions, it's pretty amazing how the body adapts to that new way of eating or even water. I mean, when I did my water fast, I was nourishing myself with water. It took 2, 3 days to break the addiction. And then I was thriving on water. So it's amazing. And I did 23 days on water. And I was like,
Yeah.
I couldn't even believe that this was happening, that I had energy, that I was able to function actually better than when I had a whole bunch of food in me. So, anyway, all this to say, we can break those addictions if we are ready and willing to. And now, that being said, I have gone back to eating cooked foods, you know, and I had to go through that for my own mental health. And I had to learn how to navigate the whole food plant-based world before going back to how to say like being strict raw vegan or fruitarian. That was just my journey,
Mm.
you know,
Yeah.
to learn how to eat like, you know, a healthy amount of sweet potato, or even just can I love myself if I eat a bowl of pasta, which I thought was like evil, right? But then
I
again, like
know. Yeah.
pasta, pasta could be combined with the right foods. If you're eating pasta and meat, that's not a good combination. But let's say you're having, and I'm not promoting, you know, eating wheat and, you know, gluten and all of that, you know, but also I had to kind of heal my food fears that were very, very deep inside of me from I was a child, right? So that's just the
Yeah.
journey that I'm on right now, is learning to be a little bit more flexible for myself, for my daughter, and really seeing those addictions, because there was a time where I couldn't stop eating, you know, and I was bulimic. I was like binging and purging, and I just that was my pattern, right? I would
Same. I
eat till
did
I
that.
was
Yeah.
sick. And yeah, it's a terrible, terrible disease to be going through. And um it takes a lot of self-love to break out of that. And you know, it's been many, many, many years of battle for me. So to come to a point where I could like love myself with a normal portion of that food that was very scary to me, that would usually have brought me to get rid of it, and to keep it and to sit with that discomfort for me, and maybe other people with eating disorders can resonate as well. That's just kind of the path that I came on more recently, surprisingly to myself, it was after a plant medicine ceremony actually, and honestly,
Oh.
that really helped me to heal. And then Amy came into my life, and she was like, "Eat the potato," and I was like, "Eat potato? Is this girl crazy?" I thought Amy was crazy for telling us to eat potatoes. I was like, no, there's no way I'm eating potatoes. Like, that is not raw vegan. When she started coming into my orbit, and she was eating pasta and she was eating all these things, and I was like, what is, but she's like thin. I was like, how is this woman eating all these things? And because for me, eating these things was going to make me fat, you know? So anyway, but like you said, eating whole food, and the oil, is the
Yeah.
oil the issue? The too much seasoning, you know, if I eat too much in
Salt. Yeah.
restaurants,
Yeah,
and a
because
lot of
the
salt.
seasoning, you'll overeat with the seasoning. Do you know Caroline Dizer on Instagram?
No, I don't know her.
She does a vegan diet, plant-based diet. A lot of it's raw, but she does incorporate cooked. Her body is gorgeous. She's gorgeous. She's an ex-supermodel, okay? And I'm like, she's eating like pasta and stuff. You know, she's making desserts with dates and everything. And she does like have steamed veggies and you know, cooked vegetables and stuff like that. But then she also has her celery juice in the morning. She has her fruits in the morning. You know, so she's doing like a really good amount of raw, but she also eats, you know, a good amount of cooked too. And she looks so vibrantly healthy. So we, you know, we get it in our minds that anything cooked is bad or evil, but you know, just those beliefs can actually be super, super toxic. Because if you believe that and then you end up eating something, you're putting all that negative energy into the food, into your body. And it's not necessarily even the case, you know, because I love raw foods. I love the raw food lifestyle. I am like you, think that, you know, fruitarian is the ultimate diet. You know, even maybe just like being like liquidarian, or maybe one day getting to like breatharian if I ever get down to like eating like once or twice a week, if I got to that point. But point being is that when it comes to health and longevity, there are people who are raw vegan who can still get cancer or still get sick. And there are people who eat, you know, a cooked vegan diet who live to 100 and they're exercising and they're vibrant and they're healthy. And, you know, it's not just diet. Just diet is not the case. If you think that you're going to go to a raw vegan diet and have zero health problems ever for the rest of your life, you're mistaken.
100%. I'm so happy
Yeah.
that you brought that up. I'm so happy you brought that up, because sometimes the mental stress that we put onto ourselves to being perfect, if it's not coming from a place that is balanced and we're ready, right? Queen Ireland said the transition, right? The transition is so important. And that's what I love about the mucusless diet healing system and your approach. And I think a lot of people are kind of missing that. You know, a lot of fruitarians are like, I just stopped and I just started eating fruit. And then they don't tell you the truth that they actually do go back to eating certain foods. They do go back to the transition, right? But they're like, they've claimed to be this persona, and they don't be real with like who and what they're doing. So anyway, I love that you're being so real, and I think it does take years. And Joshua said, I put the comment up, he says, just eating plant-based, you're ahead of 99% of the population. And that is the truth, because a lot of people aren't even like, they're not even
Like
conscious.
what if before you even try to go raw, you go from a junk food vegan and you just master a whole food plant-based with no oil, no salt, minimal seasoning, eating, you know, lightly steamed, lots of veggies, you know what I'm saying? Like, and can you master mindfully eating without doing any distractions, being super tuned into your hunger cues and stopping before you're full without overeating? Master that. That's where I'm at right now. I've gone raw so many times, and the mentality is, oh, you have a food addiction, you like to binge eat, just go raw because you can eat as much as you want. You know, which is true. You can eat as much raw as you want, and you don't really gain weight when you're eating raw. But if you don't put those habits in place and you fall off of eating raw and you go back to cooked food, you're going to be binging out again on cooked food because you never got to the root of your binge eating.
Ooh, you said a mouthful there, sister. And let me tell you, I did gain weight on the raw food diet. All those nuts, all those seeds, not moving. three elements, right? Too much
Mm.
avocados. I'm sorry, but like if you're not moving and you're eating too much fat on that diet, and I know a lot of raw vegans who are still struggling with their weight, and it's not just the food, right? But it's the emotional release where now that I'm exercising more, doing my yoga, going to the gym, like the weight is coming off as well. And my body's changing, and it's like I'm eating those foods that I was so scared of. Also, Frilly the banana girl is really awesome too. She's another one that
Yeah.
eats rice. She eats like bananas on a high level. She eats like what 20 bananas a day, but it's mostly fruit, right? It's mostly carbohydrates. She even puts sugar in her
Well,
smoothies. I
she's
don't know
big
how
on
I
the
feel about
raw
that.
till 4. She does
Yeah.
she was big on raw till 4, which to me, I think raw till 4 is such a good balance because you're eating all your raw food and then you have the cooked food at dinner, you know. I don't know. I mean, it's at least good to transition with raw till 4. It's a great way to transition for sure.
Definitely. Definitely. I
But
love having this
I mean, raw
conversation.
till 4 could be a lifelong lifestyle. It could be if that's what somebody wants to do.
100%. And then maybe some periods of cleansing in there. Like we become very intuitive with our body. Like, I know when it's time for a cleanse. I know when it's time. But, maybe it's just going to be a week. Maybe it's not going to be 100 days juice. Like, I've tried to go hard into my juice cleansing recently, and I was just 10 days, I'm done. I'm ready to eat again. And that's that. And I'm very happy with it. And even 10 days, like not everybody has done 10 days on juices. Even one day on juice is huge for somebody. So wherever you are, just bringing in those healthier habits, even replacing just one meal a day. I always say just replace your breakfast, and that'll set the
Right.
tone for your whole day. Like having
Right.
a smoothie or having a juice or having some fruit for some people, that's a huge change, right? From eggs, beans, bread, and cheese that they have every
Well, and
day.
it's going to make such a world of difference in their energy levels too to start their day off like that.
And that at the end of the day is why we do what we do. For me, it was the energy, not having to
Yeah.
sleep at 3 p.m., the coffee too. Like giving up the coffee was huge. Eating more raw
Yes. Yes.
foods
Yes.
and
Yes.
giving up the coffee. If you want to live healthy and age gracefully, give up the coffee. Like if, like even beyond the food, that coffee will really make you age. The alcohol will make you age. The
You made
smoking
a
will make you age.
you made a huge point of like, this is why we do it. This is why we cleanse. This is why we eat healthy. This is why we try to go raw. Okay. It's to feel good, to live your best life because and the vibration of it, right? The high vibration, like the spiritual benefits. Cause like you can't guarantee that you'll be in perfect health. You can't guarantee that you won't age. Like some people age gracefully on a raw vegan diet. Other people who eat raw look really old. So I'm like, I don't know, like, what is it? And then you have like some meat eaters who look amazing. And I have no idea like what the perfect diet is for anti-aging. I think it's raw veganism, because I've had really great success and looking like clear skin and everything. It is going to clear up your skin and stuff. But, like Kara Brotman and Marcus look absolutely incredible. Then like, so then we have like, like we can't guarantee that we're not going to age, that it's going to be like the perfect solution for anti-aging. We can't guarantee that it's going to help us to live a long life because anything can happen. We can't guarantee that we'll never get sick, but we can guarantee that you'll feel really good,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that's it. That's having like the energy levels and the clarity of mind and being connected to your purpose. I don't know about you, but ever since I started changing my diet and eating healthier, I have been so focused on my purpose and it has been so clear. Like my path just feels so laid out. Do you feel like that?
From my first extended juice cleanse, I felt like that. I felt like my whole trajectory changed. When I was in Raw
Mm,
Vegan Heroes and I was working with, well, I wasn't working with Shane at the time, but that's what got me the job with Shane. That's what started me being, an assistant in the group. And that really was, it lit me up to, oh my gosh, this is what I need to guide people with, removing the mucoid plaque. I was like, everybody needs to get on a juice cleanse. Everybody needs to learn about parasites. People need to change their diet. JC came in. You don't know how good you don't feel. That's right. That's
yeah.
right. We until we get there. When I did my first extended juice cleanse, because I had done other smaller ones before, but it was that long one that really changed my life, and it set me on a whole new trajectory of wanting to help people. That's when I started my website, and it's evolved over the years. But I did stay raw vegan for 3 years after that first juice cleanse, and it was just about how I felt. But I'm telling you, like you said, the mindset is everything. And look at my room. I forgot to turn the light on, and it's like so dark, but I'm not
It's
gonna
good
get
though.
up.
Like like it's shining a light in your face. What you said earlier, you said something about I lost it again. It's okay. Sorry. I lost
It's
my
okay.
train of
Yeah, but
thought
the
again.
trajectory of life, the purpose, it was like we didn't know who we were until we got rid of the obstructions. And those are the obstructions that are making people asleep in this world. You look around and there's so much untapped potential. There's so much
Oh my
talent that
gosh, you're
people don't even
so
know they have
right.
because they're
Yes.
so constipated. They can't even think. It's
Yes.
the brain. It's the
The
brain, it's the heart,
brain.
but most
Like
people
we're
aren't
so
thinking.
smart. Like we have the ability to tap into infinite creativity, infinite intelligence, infinite inspiration. And you're right. Like we're just so like we're down here, but we should be up here. Yeah.
They want us down here. That's where they want us. So people like us who break out of the programming, who
Yeah.
break out of the food pyramid, the lies that they tell us of the food groups, that we need animals to be healthy, that we need mucus and pus and dairy. Like how much programming? Like I still see trucks, not so much in Quebec, but in Belize, like eat eggs every day. Dairy is good for you. Like it was just lies. They can't even advertise that here because it's not true, right? Milk does the body good. They had celebrities with the little milk mustache. Like how much did they pay to have those celebrities come and tell you to drink milk for strong bones when we know that it actually causes osteoporosis? It actually, okay, I don't want to say cause, I can't say this, I'm not making any claims, but it increases the chance of bone loss, density, and all of this. We know that countries that the China study, the guy went to prove how to say that we needed dairy, and he actually ended up writing the China study to say actually societies that don't drink dairy are actually much healthier and have less osteoporosis. So read the China study. There's so
Wow.
much evidence out there, from the doctors, how to say, physicians. Oh my gosh, I'm having like a blank. Physicians for Responsible Medicine, right? Michael Greger is one of them. He wrote the book How Not to Die. This
Hmm.
book is full of studies. If you want scientific research, if you want evidence, Professor Arnold Ehret, he himself has, he was on his deathbed and he completely reversed all of his sickness. They told him he was a hopeless case. Through fasting, he changed his life and he helped hundreds and thousands and millions of people. Professor Spira, shout out to Professor Spira and JC, who are amazing, amazing teachers of the mucusless diet healing system. This is a transitional lifestyle diet, and it really teaches you how to go from point A to point where you want to go over a period of time, doing it
Yeah.
strategically and
I
smart.
love that. I love that. I love that. I love that he's so open about how important the transitional period is.
It is. Maria's asking, what are some alternatives to coffee for people transitioning? Do you have any
Juice.
tips? Juice,
Juice.
yes. Juice.
Or
There's
even or
also,
even green tea,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah,
Or cacao, like I know cacao or maca, cacao and maca, like give those, have like a smoothie with some of that in there. They have like
definitely.
these superfood mushroom cacao drinks.
I was going to say the mushroom coffee is really good. There's mushroom coffee. I kind of did a little bit of, I went back and forth on coffee for so many times. I used to work in a coffee shop. I was very addicted to coffee, but like decaf as well. Maybe some people don't recommend that, but the Swiss method, is not as toxic as the other decaf. So, sometimes just, I don't, depending on how much coffee you drink, you can start with there, instead of drinking 5 cups a day, you can start with, cutting some back and having a decaf, and then, starting to replace it with different healthier alternatives. Chai latte is good. You can either make your own.
Yeah.
JC knows I still go to Starbucks sometimes for my chai. I'm a little embarrassed of that.
I've never got into the coffee.
Really?
I never liked the taste of it. I think I've maybe had 2 cups of coffee my whole life.
Oh my gosh, you're so lucky. That
Yeah.
was a hard addiction to break. Wow, that's great.
Wow, that's
Well,
crazy.
most people don't really like black coffee. It's like they want the milk and the sugar and
Yeah.
the whipped cream and the caramel that goes with the coffee. Like, but
Right,
to have a
right.
straight espresso black, like I want to see how many people actually love, because that's like loving coffee, right? But if you don't have all the the condiments in it. Like people don't really like coffee,
Girl,
but they
my
like the
daughter, she goes
speculation.
to Starbucks. I take my daughter to Starbucks because she begs for it. She gets
Okay.
a frappuccino that's like this big with the whipped cream on top. It's literally like a large. I don't even know if there's coffee in there. I don't know what it is, but it's it's a lot.
It's okay. When they're young, yeah, my do sometimes, I let her, it's good to be flexible with them. It's good to allow them to, I'm not a very, I'm not very, I mean, I teach her, right? I lead her. That we definitely have a lot of raw foods and, she's coming to it in her own timing. She's like, Mom, I don't want to hurt animals anymore. I realize
Oh,
what this
sweet.
does.
Wow.
And yeah, she's having her own awakening in her own timing, and I have allowed her that space because instead of like imposing it on her, I thought it was more important for her to come to her own realizations and her own awakening on her own. So,
That's
yeah, she
smart.
definitely is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really smart. My daughter, I don't think she's a big meat eater. I think she eats it because her dad and stepmom make it. But I don't think there's a lot of times where she won't eat it. They'll get her something else. And she never eats meat when she's with me. But
Okay.
she will eat like dairy. She'll do like, I'll take her to like Olive Garden or something, because that's her favorite.
That's
But
perfect.
yeah, we can't push them. We have to just kind of let them, come to their own realizations.
Yeah, absolutely. Evangeline is saying a good alternative to transitioning from coffee is positive energy tea by Yogi, then transition to ceremonial maca. Thank you so much for
Ooh,
that. That's great.
nice.
Awesome.
It's really nice.
Have we been speaking for an hour already? That went back by really fast.
You did, yeah.
Well, okay, other than what we discussed, what would you like to share with everybody today? Like some last words of wisdom or encouragement or advice that you would give to somebody who is maybe starting off on this journey? Yeah.
Which journey? The women's empowerment or diet or what?
All of it, just like I consider just like a self-healing, self-love journey to our better self.
Don't give up. So try to stay as consistent as possible. And if you do fall off your routine or your habits, just get back on. You don't have to restart from day one every time. You can just continue to keep going and not to shame yourself because we are human. Nobody's perfect. And with the ageless beauty stuff, it's it takes time to like really appreciate who you are and to be authentic and to put yourself out there and to be vulnerable. The biggest thing that's really, really helped me recently is creating, whether it's music or art or books or whatever, just really figuring out what's in my soul that wants to be expressed. And that has really allowed me to see myself for what I like, who I really am, like underneath all of the masks that I've put on my entire life, and like what's truly in my heart, what values I truly stand for, what kind of person I really want to be, and what kind of person I want to show up as in the world.
That's deep and so true and so inspiring, you shining your light and having uncovered your divine purpose. I truly believe that gives permission to others to do the same. Go reach your dreams, go live your best self life, and don't let people around you dissuade you. Don't let them talk down on you. Don't let them make you doubt yourself, right? Because once you start hearing like that influence of others who are just programmed and in the system and in the programming, like we can't listen to this one and that one. We got to just honor ourselves, our voice. And I truly believe that we glow from inside when we are in that purpose and when we are helping people. And even if that is your family, it doesn't have to be like you become this, you don't have to go speak on stage or do anything like extravagant either. If that's your calling, great. But you don't have to do that. It could just be with your
I
surrounding and
mean,
making
you
that
might
grow.
okay, I'll give you an example. I love to sing, but I have the worst stage fright. And I've always wanted to learn how to dance, but I always felt insecure of dancing in front of people. So I'm in my 40s now, and I finally feel so good in my body. Even when I was like overweight this year, that I was like, I want to learn how to dance. And I
Yeah.
want to make videos of me dancing to the
Ooh,
songs that I created with AI. And I want to
I
make
love
like videos to post online and everything. So it's like, you have no idea like what childhood dream that is, been buried, that's going to resurface, and you're going to be able to like live that out. It's just really incredible. Someone
that.
said,
Oh no,
find
no.
your why. Yeah, find your
Yes.
why. But
Can you
sometimes
still
you
hear
don't know
me?
why. You don't know how to find your why. That's why I say just start creating, because if you start creating, you start getting curious, you start building something, creating something, and then you get new downloads, new insight, and it's going to like, one thing's going to lead to the next. And eventually you're going to figure out your why. You're going to figure out your purpose. So I say just start creating what's in your soul without doing it for any other reason other than expression. We don't need to create right now to make money off of it. We don't need to create for impressing anybody. Even, judging like whether your creations are good or bad, it doesn't matter. It's not good or bad, because that's just what you created. Like society has really gotten accustomed to judging people, like judging your writing, judging your art, or critiquing this, or how can you improve this, or your dance moves need to get better, or your video editing skills need to be better. You know what I mean? Thank you
Sorry.
guys so much for like tuning in with us. And I appreciate all of you. My name's Jamie Love. My handle is Ageless Beauty 143. And yeah.
And your books, how can people find your books?
Oh yeah, so I have 40 published books on Amazon. They are the link in my bio if you go to my Instagram or my YouTube channel, and you can check them out. I've created beautiful, empowering, inspiring music with AI. Some of them I wrote myself, some of them I didn't, but either way, I put my love into it. I put my soul and my heart into everything that I create. I do create with AI. I encourage people to create with AI because it has helped me tap into my full potential and my creative genius, honestly. So I'm a big promoter of that. And yeah, that's about it.
Amazing.
And
Well,
thank you so much for having me.
thank you so much. It was beautiful. It was perfect, just as we are. I'm a little great circle
I'm
right
sure
now.
we'll be able to cut some little clips from it. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to do this again. We
Yeah, for
definitely have to.
sure.
Love you so much, Queen.
I
And
love
thank
you
you to
too.
everybody for joining us. I will see you soon. Let's do this again very soon. Love you
Okay.
and
Bye,
thank you for
beautiful.
everything. Bye.
Bye. Bye.